Hello, we are back with day two of HNAT 2025. As you know, it's Investor Day. NatH2Investing is actually co-sponsoring it, which is great news. Today, I'm with another fantastic individual, fantastic leader of the space, Andrew Hume, who is the CEO and Managing Director of Thor Energy. Thor Energy, as you know, they have a nice location called High Range project. And today I want to know a bit more, and everybody here, I think, wants to know a bit more about High Range. What sets it apart in terms of these special geological conditions or the area where it's based? What is special about High Range?
Great, yeah. It's so High Range is located in South Australia, just north of Adelaide, and it's in this very similar area to where gold have had their success on the York Peninsula. We're immediately to the east of that, and whilst the underlying geology, the basement rocks are probably quite similar. It's this Gawler Craton, 3 billion to 1 billion year old large assemblage of basement rocks. The setting where we are in is slightly different to gold. We have a Neoproterozoic, so 900 million to 500 million year old succession of sediments that were deposited on top of that, and then slightly metamorphosed into metasediments. But what it's set up is a lot of low relief structures within that succession, with the basement below us at a depth of a few hundred meters or perhaps a few thousand meters in place. So it gives us a lovely juxtaposition of the right source rock, the right faulting, which is pervasive all the way through the succession, allows migration from serpentinization. Radiolysis is probably quite likely in this area as well, and then trapping configuration. So it's kind of got a lot of the right ingredients here.
So it's a lot of good conditions that can lead to the production of hydrogen if we're going to keep it more simplified, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is a success you've been making in growing and exploring this location. How have you been seeing the path towards commercialization? What does it look like in terms of High Range?
Yeah, well, that's the $64 million question, the one everyone asks. But it's a really pertinent question. Look, my personal views are, when we make a discovery, the first challenge we have is just to prove to the world that we can flow this and that we can sustain that flow. If we can prove that we can sustain flow, then we're really going to attract the attention of industrial partners for real decarbonization, or refining, ammonia, methanol, and similar industries like that, which are hard to abate, heavy users of fossil fuel derived hydrogen. So I think that the key to, while you do that production test, is also to monetize the relatively small amount of production. And the logic for that, and what really works quite well again with where High Range is we have big trunk natural gas networks, big power lines as well. So your ability to tap in, and the South Australian government is very keen to bring molecules into the grid as soon as possible. So it gives you an opportunity to monetize that straight away. That could be the full game. It might be that's the big development, but I think it's a gateway to huge decarbonization.
So supportive government is also in place. That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah.
I'll call them out. That's good. That's fantastic. South Australia has its own, is it an autonomous government?
Yeah, I mean, well, Australia's a federation in a way. Yeah. So there's states and territories. So we have federal law, which encompasses, Australia, but each state has its ability to set its own law. Okay. They're not too different, essentially, but South Australia's got ahead of the game about 4 or 5 years ago, and they regulated hydrogen and helium to be extracted. The other states are catching up, but they're not yet there. So South Australia's really where it's at in Australia. Yeah.
Okay, you have just last final question. You have a talk in a while, don't you?
Yes, I have. Yeah. Yes.
You'll be seeing this video after he's already spoken. Sadly, I can't edit it within an hour, but you'll be seeing this after. What's the topic?
Topic this afternoon is just an overview of Thor, just a description. I gave a talk yesterday, which I think's out there in the public somewhere, about the geology in South Australia, talking a little bit more about what we've just chatted about here.
Fantastic.
And the different tectonic setting.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Andrew Hume, CEO and Managing Director of Thor Energy. Thank you for being here, and see you. If you haven't come to HNAT this year, remember you can come next year. It's going to be one always. It's fantastic. It's growing. The venue, you should see. Actually, I should record it. I should turn this around and record. It's massive. So see you. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. This is day 2 of HNAT 2025. Right now I'm with Erik Schäfer, founding partner of Green Investors. I have a few questions for him, and he's a very important figure in the investment space. As you might know, today is Investor Day. It's actually co-sponsored by myself and Morten for NatH2Investing, and also with Christoph Hecker of Natural High. So I had a few questions for you, but there's a big news that recently came out, Erik. It was about the decahydron. They partnered with Weatherford.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would love to know a bit more, and with Siemens Energy as well. How do you feel about this news? How does this affect natural hydrogen? Two massive companies, they are now involved with.
Yes, no, absolutely. No, it was great. Number one, thank you for having me here. And as you mentioned, you and together with Christoph and with Morten, it's wonderful that you take the initiative to make as well all these financing sides of the natural hydrogen space, bring it to the out in the world. It is so important. We green investors, our hero claim is financing and developing the hydrogen world. You need both sides. And so therefore, thank you for that first. Second point is, as you asked, decahydron, it's a portfolio company from ours. We have been a very early investor in the seed round and have believed in the team, in what they are exploring. The project, it's an Irish company. This first project is in the UAE, in the Northern Emirates. There is in the Northern Emirates of Ras Al Khaimah, of Sharjah and Fujairah, 3 Emirates. And that is really a wonderful geological formation as well to find natural hydrogen.
Right.
But now coming to your question,
yes,
it is a huge breakthrough, not only for decahydron, obviously, and you see me as a very happy man standing here coming to Paris to the conference, but it's as well a great breakthrough for the natural hydrogen industry. As we've heard this morning on the conference several times, it is still, when people talk about natural hydrogen, many investors still don't know what it is. Yeah. So they mix it up with hydrogen and say, yeah, hydrogen is not so sexy at this point in time. Maybe I invest in AI or whatever other energy things. But we really have to make clear that this is now the next breakthrough energy. And that is great because when Siemens Energy signed this MOU with us, together with Sharjah National Oil Corporation, to build the very first natural hydrogen powered power plant in the UAE, that was, everybody was interested. These heavyweights, they borrow reputation and they show the world, look, we are in it. Now the investors are coming as well and looking.
Fantastic.
The other one is...
no, please continue.
Thank you. The other one with Weatherford, one of the 3 drilling majors in the same league as SLB, Schlumberger or Halliburton, stock exchange listed company out of the US. It is extremely good in 2 ways, because it's a strategic investor who helps decahydron doing the drilling work. So any investor who comes in knows that there is one of the most professional companies on the planet looking for the drilling. So that's what we always call risk reduction. You have to get risk mitigation to attract investors as well. And now they announced, we were last week in ADIPEC, Abu Dhabi, at the world's largest mining conference, oil and gas conference, 250,000 people. They announced very publicly and with a very, very strong voice their investment in decahydron, which really brings as well decahydron again on another level. So we are very happy. You see me very happy today. It was a long stretch. It took the better part of a year to get to where we are, but the year has passed by all by itself, and we are happy where we are today.
Making good progress and some big leaps, huh? I have one more question, as we don't have that much time, but I wanted to ask you, as an investor, what do you think natural hydrogen companies need to do to give a signal to investors to say, well, this is an interesting prospect?
I believe it's something. So I've done this all my life, started my career in Silicon Valley many years ago, far long before you were born. And then I learned how to make companies out of an idea. And there was always a strong component. Have in the beginning strong reputational partners. That was at the time always a professor at Stanford University. Please take that as an advice for natural hydrogen companies. Have a early stage anchor investor, someone who you may want to give them even cheap shares in a very early round, but that people see that important companies, important names, reputable names trust in you. Obviously, all this offtake situation is important.
It is.
Because if somebody hears hydrogen, they say, "Oh, do you have offtake?" I always tell the people, "Wait a minute. If I produce hydrogen for like $1 per kilo, I will sell everything. You need offtake
Yes.
if you produce for $10 per kilo
Yes.
in the solar and electrolyzer hydrogen." But again, investors have their certain set of knowledge, and when they know something about hydrogen, they will ask their 1 or 2 or 3 questions. So therefore, as well, yes, get offtake. So maybe those are some advice that you could give to founders.
Beautifully put. And I think that's what encapsulates what we're doing here with NatH2Investing. And having you here is so special. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and all the best. You are doing a great job in being an ambassador for the whole industry.
Thank you very much. Erik Schäfer from Green Investors, founding partner. We'll see you. And if you're not seeing HNAT, please come next year. It's going to be worth it. You can meet fantastic people like Erik and everybody else who's here.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so we're back here with day 2 of HNAT 2025. This is Investor Day, which we're sponsoring here at NatH2Investing. Today I'm with another leader in the space, Avon McIntyre, Managing Director Executive Director at HyTerra. So we've got some questions. The audience has some questions as well. So let me cover those 2 or 3 questions we'll be asking you. First of all, I wanted to know, since your company has a US presence, but it's an Australian team, which is fantastic. How does it differ, the US, when it comes to natural hydrogen exploration and having a company in natural hydrogen from having one, say, in Australia?
Yeah, it's a good question, Anthony. Yeah, and it does seem odd that we have an Australian company operating on the other side of the world, but it's a couple of things. So the main thing is that it's a very easy place to do business in the states we are operating in. Very drill friendly. We can move very fast. We had a case earlier this year where we identified an area we liked. We were able to lease, permit, and drill the well inside of 4 months, which is almost impossible to do in any other part of the world. And then when you combine that with geology that we think is compelling, well, it's pretty obvious that it's worth the effort to operate on the other side of the world if you can move that quickly. Yes, we're a startup and we want to move quickly because we need results quickly. And so, it makes sense to do so.
And speaking of moving quickly, you've just spoken inside our conference room, and you mentioned something about a global presence, a potential global presence. Tell me more about that. Does HyTerra plan to expand to more countries?
Well, we already are global, so it's not a stretch to say we could go somewhere else. So the rocks don't care, right? And so what we're learning with the drill bit and the steel on the ground that we have in Kansas with our 3 wells already drilled this year puts us in a great position to understand what we need to look for in the rest for the geological aspects of subsurface hydrogen in the rest of the world. And so, if the above ground and the below ground come together, we're interested.
Okay, fantastic. And that's very true. I mean, the rocks do not care. And everywhere you might find the same conditions that lead to a natural hydrogen discovery, which would be fantastic. I mean, we're still looking for that big one after Mali, but hopefully you are one of the first to find it. So now when it comes to investment and investors, what is it that attracts so much about HyTerra? Because I see you're one of the biggest companies. Let's be clear about this. And NatH2Investing loves reporting on HyTerra. What are the things that de-risk investment when it comes to HyTerra's activities?
Well, I think the fact that we've already started our exploration campaign. So we have got geophysical data sets which underpin our geological model, which allow us to select the best locations to drill and then eventually get around to testing. So the idea is that we are taking a very careful, data-driven approach to make sure that we don't just ready, shoot, aim. We make sure we have a compelling reason to drill each of our targets. And so we want a learning journey as well as an exploration journey as well. And part of the reason we're publicly listed is we want people to come for the ride. So,
yes,
we're listed in Australia, we're quoted in the US and also in Frankfurt. So, people want to join the party. There's the ability to do so right now.
Yeah, actually, we report a lot about HyTerra, and we do want to remind you that HyTerra are part of the NatH2 Index, in which we track the biggest companies in the space, HyTerra being one of the biggest, if not top 3 at least. So I do want you to remind you that we are on our newsletter, on YouTube, and you can check us out, check out HyTerra, what they're doing. Also, thank you very much, Avon, because it's nice to have you here. Thank you.
Likewise, Anthony.
It is
Thanks
an
for the
honor to
audience.
have you, yes. And hopefully say hello to Ben for me as well.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Avon, Executive Director at HyTerra. See you, and see you at the next HNAT if you weren't here. Okay, so we're back for day 2 of HNAT 2025. This is Investor Day. We're co-sponsoring it here at NatH2Investing. Today I have another leader. It's Florian Osselin, CSO of Vema Hydrogen. You might know Vema Hydrogen. They're a big startup. They got funded for stimulated hydrogen. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And it's great to be able to meet you and to talk about stimulated hydrogen, because they're like the smaller subset of natural hydrogen, but the one I think might end up being the bigger one. So let me ask you, in simple terms, when it comes to stimulated versus natural, how do you see it, like traditional natural hydrogen? How do you see the differences, and how would you explain them to our audience?
Right. So the main difference between natural and stimulated hydrogen is probably where the risk lies. In standard natural hydrogen, the risk lies in exploration. It's hard to find the resource. It's hard to find where accumulation lies. In terms of stimulated hydrogen, the risk is more into how to operate the field. What's the best injection rate? What's the best temperature? What's the best source to make the hydrogen come out of the well? So it's either exploration risk or operational risks. Both of them are super interesting in the end.
And when it comes to stimulated, what would be the risks? What would be the common risks we could find?
For stimulated hydrogen, the risk is to misunderstand the rock, and each rock will react differently. You would have to inject different temperature, different chemical solutions to make sure that you get as much hydrogen as you can.
Right.
And the main risk is if you just design the wrong source, you're not going to get enough hydrogen, and that's going to kill your field.
Right. Thank you. I mean, thank you. This is so educational for us. We've had a podcast with Alexis Templeton, and this is as far as a lot of our knowledge goes. I don't want to speak for everybody, but a lot of us, we don't understand much about stimulated hydrogen. So this is good. It has a lot of engineering, which I enjoy. Now, when it comes to the technical breakthroughs or other types of breakthroughs, what has helped stimulated hydrogen become now a top player or a major player in the natural hydrogen space?
Well, I think the work you were mentioning, Professor Templeton, I think her work has been instrumental in really making the stimulated hydrogen like a big player in the scene. Her recent results in Oman really show that there is a lot of potential. I don't want to speak for her, but this is for us like a really encouraging results, and that's something we're going to work on. And our own pilots should be up and running next year. So we should get also a lot of results there that's going to help us move forward and the whole industry.
Very, very excited for when that happens. Thank you, Florian. And remember, this is Florian Osselin, CSO of Vema Hydrogen. We're here at HNAT. If you weren't here, remember you can come next year, or you can watch it online next year. This is a fantastic place. What do you think about HNAT?
It's great. It's very interesting conversations, good presentations, and good food. Perfect.
Yeah. And it's especially important for me this year because we're sponsoring it. That's fantastic. So yeah, thank you, Florian, and see you. I'll actually be interviewing Alexis Templeton next, so prepare for that one.
Thank you.
We're back here with day 2 of HNAT 2025. This is Investor Day. We're actually sponsoring it with NatH2Investing, as you may know. So I've got a leader who you may know already, a natural hydrogen leader. She's actually been with us in a podcast episode, which you should have watched. And if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Alexis Templeton, professor at the University of Colorado. As you may know, she's been working with the Rock Hydrogen Project in Oman. And most importantly, she's working with stimulated geologic hydrogen, which is right now probably the most exciting thing, at least for me. So thank you for being with me.
Good to see you, Anthony.
I hope you can answer some questions, because we have some very punctual but important questions to ask. I know since you're working with stimulated geologic hydrogen, you've been doing quite some work in terms of scale. But now I would like to ask, how far are we from commercial field tests and knowing how much we can produce through stimulated geologic hydrogen?
Yeah, I think you're jumping pretty far ahead at this point in time. The Rock Hydrogen project that we're doing is the first pilot. And we are working at a scale where we think we're producing hydrogen at rates that would be commercially viable. So that's exciting. But to be able to build a system at a scale that would be commercial, we're just not there yet in terms of how we would design the infrastructure for permitting enough fluid flowing through these systems and sustaining it. So we're getting a lot of basic information right now on how water moves through these rocks and how fast we can pump it and how fast we can strip hydrogen, and it's really promising. but there's many steps right now, which we can manage in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But if I said today we can't go there, give me 2 years, maybe we can.
That's fantastic. And I think that's how science behaves, right? We need to get through the steps and prove the hypothesis first, and then we can see what comes commercially. So yeah, thanks for clearing that up, because I would think I was getting ahead of myself. But now let's go back to your specialty. I know there's a lot of biology and microbiology involved in what you do, as well as the geochemistry. So how can geochemists and microbiologists collaborate to create a better space or improve the space of natural hydrogen? Because we know there's actually a few companies here, microbiologists, that these organisms, they're eating the hydrogen. So how can we stop that?
Right. Well, I think we've gone a long way now in terms of the fact that there is a recognition that these geologic hydrogen systems are microbially inhabited. So they're there. We all agree that they're there. They are consuming hydrogen, but it doesn't mean that it's at a rate that is too fast. There's many conditions where they can be present and only consume a tiny fraction of it. And what we're seeing now is that data is finally getting incorporated into models. So here at HNAT, we've seen several new modeling packages. And in some of these examples, they're including the microbial terms and turning them up and down to see what it would take to balance the system and either sustain and accumulate hydrogen or to lose it. We need to have more field scale data on looking at microbial hydrogen consumption. And we could do that now. So if we can start getting a little bit more directed support to this area, we can de-risk geologic hydrogen systems substantially. So it's definitely an idea that I'm going to be out there pushing. And there's a lot of people prepared to jump in on.
Fantastic. And this is actually the last interview I'll be making for HNAT. So
congrats.
It's been 12 or 13. I've lost count at this point. But it's very great to have you here, Alexis. Again, thank you for giving me your time.
Nice to see you. And I'm going to go to a stimulated hydrogen
She
section.
has a chat now, so let's go. See you. Remember to come to HNAT next year. And thank you for joining me.
Ciao.
So we are here finalizing day 2 of HNAT 2025. It's been quite a long experience. I've done quite a few interviews, but I have one final leader in the space.
Yay!
Allegra Hosford Scheirer. Scheirer, right?
Yeah. Good.
Yes, perfect. I finally got
it.
Right, yeah. So she's working with Element 1 Hydrogen, and Element 1 is a quite exciting company because you guys just got a rebrand and rename, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And there are a few things which are very unique about Element 1, and you were going to explain to me or explain to the audience as well, in simple terms, if possible.
Yeah.
What is the model of Element 1, and what makes you guys so special that you're going to make a mark in this space?
I think that what is so different and what captured me as a consulting geologist is that Element 1 is a project generator company. So what that means is that Element 1 wants to acquire land positions, do all of the scientific due diligence that we need to do, both for accumulated hydrogen and stimulated hydrogen, and then bring in partners that will acquire a working interest, and et cetera, et cetera. And then, so we will generate essentially the leads, maybe in marketing terms, you would call it a lead.
The lead.
And then really partner with folks to generate to work these projects.
This will allow you to be a global company now.
It will.
Yeah, and you're not restricted to a certain claim, a certain acreage.
Right.
That is fantastic.
Right. And we do have 4 project areas already in the company, and one of them is already being worked by another company. So the model is working, it's underway, and we really expect to ramp it up in 2026.
And these are in which region, in which country?
So far, we have a couple in British Columbia, we have one in Alaska, and we're working a whole bunch of other different areas.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Do you have any plans for outside North America?
Absolutely. I mean, we're agnostic as to type of hydrogen, like how it's generated. We're agnostic to whether it's stimulated or accumulated. And we've got partnerships going with a very, very well-respected natural hydrogen scientist at Columbia University in New York. We're going to be licensing her technology for stimulated natural hydrogen. So it's extremely exciting.
And it's nice. And it's nice to interview you because we've known each other for quite a while.
A long time.
Allegra is actually one of the first people I met in natural hydrogen. So it's great to be here with you. And how do you feel about natural hydrogen for the next, I don't know, let's say 1-2 years?
I think 2026 will be pivotal. We'll see the results of the new well that Max Powers just put down. We'll see the Ramsey 3 well. Hopefully we'll see stimulated hydrogen wells go in by Vema, other folks. And it's going to be really pivotal because, access to capital is what every startup needs right now. And we need some success.
Yes.
We need flowing hydrogen.
Last year, we used to talk about that a lot, right? When we were working together,
Yeah.
it was more about how do we get in contact with investors? How do we put our knowledge in front of these investors so they start understanding? And now it seems that investors do start to understand what natural hydrogen is about.
I think they're getting it.
Yeah, they're starting to get it. And Investor Day, we just had it. We just finished, sponsored by NatH2Investing, by the way.
Yep.
And we saw real faces behind the names of these investors who previously you would see them in the shadows, right?
It's a good point. They were all here for Investor Day.
Yeah.
That was a huge success.
That was successful.
Definitely want to keep doing that.
Yeah. So, well, Allegra, it's been so nice to have you today. Thank you for your time.
It's been wonderful to see what you're doing with the podcast.
Yeah.
And really excited for you and Morten taking the lead and being the face of natural hydrogen.
Any final messages for the audience?
Stay tuned. I mean, stay tuned with the space, with all the different startups and the public companies, the private companies. It's going to be a really great 2026.
Fantastic. Well, you heard it from Allegra.
Yeah.
See you.
Take care.
Thank you for watching us.
Bye.
Bye. So we're here for day 2 of HNAT 2025 Investor Day. We're co-sponsoring it at NatH2Investing. I'm interviewing all of the leaders. I actually said I was in the last interview, but no, there is at least one more interview with another leader, Frank Glass, who is at Gold Hydrogen as the Chief Exploration Advisor. So thank you for being with me.
No problem.
Yeah, it was hard to pin him down for this one, sadly. But here he is. So I had a few questions for you, Frank. It's just 2 questions for now. Okay. Hope you can answer them. The first one, how is the Ramsey project doing right now in late 2025? Are things progressing? I know you're drilling a 3rd well. Tell me more about it.
Okay, we had a very busy year this year because we did a strategic investment process where we got 3 Japanese investors in, and they supplied us with sufficient funds for us to start drilling Ramsey number 3. And Ramsey number 3 is aimed to go up dip in a better spot as Ramsey 2, so that we can optimally test the Ramsey discovery and flow the hydrogen to the surface. Yeah. So we're doing very well. We're ready to drill. Actually, we spotted last Sunday, and we're very eager to see what comes out of this well.
They did.
We're going to end to the end of the year.
Yeah, we've been reporting on what you've been doing, and we're excited. We're the first to be excited whenever the news comes out because we have new headlines, we have new things to share, and Gold Hydrogen, as always, has been supporting that NatH2Investing, something which I have to share here. It's great to be working together. So the other question I had is, I mean, as somebody who is inside the industry, how do you feel about the next 2 years in Australia, South Australia, and for Gold Hydrogen? How do you feel in terms of optimism and so on, and in general about the industry?
Okay, the industry in Australia is growing significantly. We've seen a lot of companies take up acreage in West Australia, and they're slowly developing them into actually doing activities and converting them from SPAs into active licenses. We've seen a lot of people in South Australia now converting their applications into granted permits and therefore starting to do activities. And what we see is a lot of activity is shifting towards Tasmania. And Tasmania, there are already granted permits and activity levels are ramping up. Yeah. So Australia is going to be a place with lots of activity in the next 2 years.
Wonderful. And for Gold Hydrogen, next 2 years, how do they look, more or less?
Well, yeah. If this all works, what we're doing next, then we're going to do a feed and we're going to start producing the hydrogen. And that will be a first, right? So all looking out for that.
Well, thank you so much, Frank.
Okay. No problem.
Thanks for having you. And thanks to everybody who's watching. This is probably the last interview of them all. HNAT was fantastic. Recommend. How did you find it? You enjoy it?
Fantastic conference. I'll be back next year.
Oh, we'll all be back. So where are you? Please join us. See you. And thank you for being with us all this time.
Okay.
So today we're done with HNAT 2025. This is day 2, Investor Day, which we were co-sponsoring, as you should know by now, because I've said it in all of our interviews and our previous video. This is a recap for the day 2. So there is big news about to be shared by Morten, but there's also big news I have to share before Morten starts speaking. Sorry, Morten. They've just broken news. Or actually, Alexis Templeton has just broken the news that stimulated hydrogen, the project, the rock hydrogen project in Oman, is producing more hydrogen than is being consumed by the microorganisms, and it's producing in such a quantity. I will try to share a video soon. It's just pumping out hydrogen bubbles in this plastic piping thing. It's just so much, and it's very exciting. Alexis Templeton herself, who is a scientist who probably is questioning these things by nature, she looked very excited, which is great to see. When a scientist is excited, something big has happened. So now I'm going to leave it to Morten, because Morten was hosting many of the events going on here in the conference room. And tell us more about Investor Day.
Yeah, so, well, while you were listening to extremely exciting news from the industry, I was doing an important panel discussion on the regulatory stuff that needs to change for natural hydrogen to move forward.
Yeah.
So, and it's needed, but of course not as sexy. So I said I didn't see. So I only saw in the faces of people coming out of the big conference room that there was something really exciting.
Swarming Alexis.
And this is now, I think, half an hour ago it ended, and Alexis is still talking to people who want to know more.
Trying to push her way out of the crowd.
So that's really interesting. I look forward to hear it from her and in more detail to understand.
Yeah.
But the day today was the Investor Day, the first in HNAT history, and it went really well, I think.
Yeah.
With Christoph from Natural High, we the two of us co-hosted, and I started the day doing some of the moderation. We had good both pitches from companies, where I was extremely surprised how all of them were really well structured.
They were.
And maybe people would ask, why are you surprised? It's just because some of these people know so much about natural hydrogen, and combining that into something that is understandable for investors, that is difficult sometimes. Yeah. But this obviously is an industry, as well as the company, has evolved, and they're really good at it.
Yes.
And I think we did the really good panel discussion with the big guy investors, the new French
that was
fund.
a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Breakthrough Energy, and I forgot the name of the other one, sorry.
Yeah, I admitted to begin with that my pronouncing on French words is not really good.
Yeah.
I think it's Collateron or something like that.
More or less.
Write it somewhere so people can find it.
Yeah.
They launched just a few days ago and are investing in both natural hydrogen. They haven't made a natural hydrogen investment yet, but will, they said. So
helium, right?
And I think they all kinds of clean energy.
Yes.
But crucially, interestingly, that was really half depressing, half really exciting for me to hear that Gaetan from Breakthrough Energy Ventures reminded everyone in the room that we're pursuing flow. We want commercial flow. Yeah. And that could really unlock the whole industry. We discussed this many times. If someone produced hydrogen, then everything would explode in a good way.
Yeah.
But the fusion, the new kind of nuclear, they waste so much money, even if proving if it works is so far in the future, so many more billions. So it can be done to persuade investors. Yeah. So we should think of, so next year, who can we ask? Do we know anyone in nuclear? How can we get investors to be on board, even if we haven't flow yet? Or maybe just go for flow.
How can we start pulling investors from nuclear fusion? That's a good question. Let's take this year to think about it.
Everyone who knows someone in the nuclear industry, ask them how they did it. We want to know.
Yeah.
But again, as often said today, there is, and also the closing remarks, people are, bullish and confident. Yeah. The explorers have many plans for drilling wells next year. So maybe we don't need to do like the nuclear industry. Maybe we'll actually have a well flowed next year.
Yeah.
Well, there's always hoping anytime someone drills.
And actually, I had something from Erik Schäfer. I was speaking with Erik Schäfer, who's an investor. He's a founding partner of Green Investors. Yeah. Green Investors. And he said something which was key. It made me wake up from my day. And he said, we talk a lot about offtake, which is something we talk about in green hydrogen and blue hydrogen and gray hydrogen. And he says, if we can reduce the price from $12 a kilo to $1 a kilo, 0.5, we don't need to talk about offtake, because every company will want to take it off your hands. So offtake might not be as big as a problem as we thought and as I thought. I've always been one who says, we need to talk about offtake, we need to talk about end users. But if we have it at a price which is so affordable, then things change. And he was right. And I was thinking about that. And it's something that was discussed a lot about end usage in this event. I think we've matured a lot from just science, which I complain about a lot. Last year was a lot more about science, but this HNAT was a lot more about end usage.
Yeah.
And that is good. That is good to see. Now we have investment. We have Morten hosting these events for investors. We have investors who are visible now.
Yeah.
Because they used to be a bit more, hiding in the shadows.
Now you can see they have a name tag. You can go and ask them, what are your criteria to invest? But actually, I think to Erik's point, it was really, it's visualized by Martin Bonnert, I think. Again, sorry, French guys, but from McKinsey, he presented today, what would it mean if you could get natural hydrogen this cheap? How quickly could it take market share, depending how much we produce, but also what kind of industries in which areas of the world would actually be ready to buy it right away? And that was quite a few. And there is a big group again, where they only needed a small amount of willing to pay extra or some kind of tax credit or similarly. So that was really interesting to see. Also that McKinsey takes an interest. They bother doing this. They have customers, I guess, asking for knowledge about this. So really interesting.
So a big thank you to everybody. I see one of the organizers, Yassine, is here. We're so grateful to everybody who has been organizing this event. Quite a bit of work. And ourselves too, with our own work here in the conference room. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching this with us and supporting us all the way with NatH2Investing audience and so on. We're very grateful. So thank you, Morten.
Thank you very much. And we'll be back next year, hopefully. Together, should be even bigger.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you in the next one, or see you in the next event. Maybe we have a next event coming up. I don't know. You probably know them more than I do.
I can't really remember, but because my brain is now full of knowledge, I want beer.
Okay.
So
that's
mic drop.
That's the final line. Yeah. See you.